Welcome once again to another presentation from our YouTube station. We're going to have a report called the Pre-11th Hour Ministry. Now, some of the brethren have contacted us lately and we've inquired about what is the latest with the Mountaindale session and the subsequent break-off of some of the brethren. And what do we have in plan as far as this movement goes. And so we thought it'd be good to put a presentation on, kind of fill the brethren in about what the Pre-11th Hour Ministry, which is our new name, is going to be about. And you'll know more about where we're going. Okay, so we have a mission statement here that we're presenting before the brethren when we do the studies and the meetings and so forth. The Pre-11th Hour Ministry is committed to and will teach according to that which is published, that which Elijah sent to the printing press and mailed out to the Adventist world. You can see those references right there. We are also committed to base our beliefs on the fundamental beliefs of the Davidian Seventh-day Adventists, as it is written, especially where it stipulates that the time of Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 37, occurs after Ezekiel 9. We understand that Zion's watchmen will see eye to eye when the Lord brings again Zion, and that our adherence to the fundamental beliefs will eliminate major differences. And of course, we have the backup references for you. So this statement right here, brethren, is our mission statement about what we're committed to do. And so I think the Lord is going to work mightily with this ministry, and we'll explain a little more as we go. We ask that you kneel and pray before you watch the video so that we can request the Lord's gift of the Spirit of truth. And I say gift because it's not guaranteed that we get it. Just because we're so-called present truth believers doesn't mean we're being guided by the Spirit of truth. That's very obvious. You can see many of our videos and we explain some of the false teachings and some of the false watchmen that are currently expounding strange fire ideas. So we have to be very humble. We have to accept the Lord's rebuke when it comes time, and we have to switch courses when we've found that we're in error. It's sad to say, but many brethren continue steadfast in that error, so we don't want to be a part of that. So let us now continue. All right, so what makes our Davidian Seventh-day Adventist ministry so different? Number one, we teach that which is published by God's prophet, the prophesied Elijah, Malachi 4:5. Some main DSDA organizations that do not do this. Okay, so we have three of the big ones, Waco, Mountaindale, and Bashan. They do not teach what is published by God's prophets. They teach additional works from other people. And that's what sets this ministry apart, is we've decided that this is not right. We're going to go back to the basics. We're going to preach and proclaim what the last prophet, which we know is Brother Victor T. Hada, published in his written work. And that is what we're going to go by. All right, so one of the basic lessons we learn in Present Truth is that you see these two major pipes. These are very important for us because these show that, well, we'll explain further as we go, but we notice that there's two, okay? You see two, and they're going into the trees, which we know is the Old and New Testament, and we're noticing that they're right there are pouring out oil, truth, from these prophecies and interpreting for them and put in what's called the golden bowl, the spirit of prophecy right there. So this is a beautiful, simple, as the rod says, childlike symbolism that we should have no issues with, brethren. And that is two, right? One on the left, one on the right. So what do we find in the message? Two interpreters since 1844. The two golden pipes, which carry the golden oil from the trees to the bowl, are the only two mediums which God has employed since 1844 to do what? To interpret the scriptures that can be found in 5 symbolic code number 15, page 3. Notice that it says two. That means that we eliminate Florence Hodoff, Don Adair, or M.J. Bingham. The three big ones that in our Davidian history has been unfortunately accepted as part of the Golden Bull. And we'll go into that more as we go. But brethren, there is today, and this is the work of the enemy. This is not the work of the Spirit of Truth. There is today, as we see here, 5 pipes, and we even say 6 now with Lennox Sam, but there's 5 or 6 pipes that are acceptable into the bowl. Okay? So in other words, we're telling the Lord in Zechariah 4, you made a mistake, Lord. Don't forget there's 3 or 4 other pipes that we have to accept. Brethren, this is foolishness, and we have to go back to the basics. It is imperative, therefore, that every present truth believer teach and practice only present truth. That is, teach nothing more or less than what is published, and do nothing more or less than what the message calls for. 7 Symbolic Code, number 712, page 18. Note, a rod study will reveal that the message declares that publish, quote, publish, means to be in written form. You see, brethren, you find, and those are the references you can support that. You see, we find that, unfortunately, there's the the false idea that publish can mean oral. In other words, this is a clever excuse to explain how the new codes can be part of the message. They were, quote, published because he voiced them out back in the day. Well, this is ridiculous on many fronts. But the main key is that we want to remember not us, not the world, but how does the rod explain the word published? And if you'll do a real honest-to-goodness study of the word published from the written rod message that the Lord gave us, Micah 6:9, you will find that it always refers to written form. So that's what we have to go by, brethren. It's written form. And that's why we're going to teach only that which is published, though that is written from the prophet. Amen. All right, number 2. We believe in our Davidian Seventh-day Adventist fundamental beliefs as foundational and important summaries of our faith. The recent session from Mountaindale declared that despite the following clear words showing a timeline, we should not believe it. This is what's so sad, brethren. They now have declared that what you see here, 4, 5, 6, 7 of our fundamental beliefs, we're not to take them in sequence. Well, what is the message showing? That immediately thereafter what? Number 4. So in other words, 5 is going to come immediately thereafter. And number 7, that's subsequently. Subsequently to what? To the prior numbers, 4, 5, 6. That's subsequently, which is after Ezekiel 9, number 4, Jacob's time of trouble for the 144,000. The sons of Jacob logically develops, what does it say? In their adopted homeland? No, brethren, on their way home to the land of their fathers. So we see that if we just accept the message as it reads, and we're counseled to do that in A Great Controversy, page 598 and 599, if we just take the words as they read, don't add to them, don't change them, don't subtract, anything like that, we'll have a clear vision of truth, right? So this is what is very, very sad, is that not only has Mountaindale rejected these words, but they've made a declaration, a written declaration, saying that we are not to take these words literally. In other words, what you see, don't believe it. It's called gaslighting, brethren. And we, part of the pre-11th hour ministry, are no longer going to be a part of that. All right, so when we understand this, we understand that the Assyrian Confederacy teachings is at odds with our fundamental beliefs. And this is the well-known chart of events produced by Mountaindale for many years. I think in the last session they've realized that this is quite a, what's the word for it? Meandering of false ideas. So they have removed this from sending it out in the field. But for many, many years, this was, and I believe this was mostly compulated by Brother Anthony Hebert. I think him and maybe one or two of the other leaders of Mountaindale put this together. And we can see that this is so wrong in so many levels. We've done videos on this, so you can watch our other videos. But briefly, these references right here, brethren, many of them are new codes. Okay, so the new codes are backing up this ridiculous timeline. Okay, you see the close of the ceiling right here, 144,000. Look at all this time period, 42 months from there all the way to Ezekiel 9. Brethren, this is why there was a breakup that had to occur, because the brethren could not, in good conscience, teach such heresies. And so we wanted to bring you the attention. Now, this is not limited to Mountaindale. This is also affecting Waco and Bashan. They teach maybe not the exact same thing, but they teach versions of this false timeline. And that's why we have to get back to our fundamental beliefs and teach that. Number 3, we as present truth believers, just as with Mother, have many lessons to learn and, quote, many, many to unlearn. Councils, Writers, and Editors, page 37. So what are some of the examples of the lessons that we have to unlearn? Well, number 1, the so-called Assyrian Confederacy. And as I mentioned before, this is one of the primary reasons why there's confusion out there amongst us present truth believers, because the Assyrian Confederacy teaching doesn't line up with our fundamental beliefs. So you have to say, just like Mountaindale does, if you're a Assyrian Confederacy believer and teacher of the current teaching of this doctrine, you have to throw away the fundamental beliefs or change them to a certain degree. And this is what we cannot accept. Number 2, Jacob's time of trouble comes before Ezekiel 9. Again, this is falsehood, brethren. And this is what many brethren, Waco, Bashan, Mountaindale, teach. And this is something that not acceptable. Number 3, intervening time after the sealing of the 144,000. Let's go back real quick, and I want to show you that again. All right, you see the close of the ceiling there, 144,000? All this time is what's called intervening time, brethren. Okay? And look at all the things that they say occurs during this time. Assyrian Confederacy, gigantic war. So they're saying the war is going to be 42 months? Where do they get that from? Oppose Confederacy, 42 months. You see that? 42 months. So this is the antitypical 42-month period they're claiming. Okay? And this is so wrong on so many levels. But anyway, you can go see our videos explaining more of the situation. All right. And number 4, the King of the North is today solely the United States. So we just did a recent video that one of the YouTube proclaimers was claiming that we're wrong for saying that it's not just the King of the North. It's continued to be Great Britain, continued to be Christianized kings, continued to be antitypical Assyria, and so forth. So you can see a video on that. We go more into that. But this is the example of some of these brethren that teach such heresy, that King of North is solely the United States. That's false, brethren. So that's another example of something we have to unlearn. Number 5, there will be space travel to transport the 144,000 to the pre-millennial kingdom. We have videos on that as well. And again, we address that YouTube station that likes to call out people, but they themselves, as we proved in those videos, are just all mixed up. Okay, so these are 5 of the examples of lessons that we have to unlearn. And by God's grace, we're going to go ahead and show Mother and show present truth believers. All right, so we'll end up here with the goals of the ministry: to plead with Mother the message of the hour, to continue to help our fellow present truth believers to learn and unlearn many lessons of present truth. It was supposed to say to organize and work as a team to do God's work by studies. In other words, online, email, phone, and personal, to allow membership to the brethren who would like to join us. And that's yet to be determined. We're going in a process of meetings and organization formulation of what we're going to do. And until we know more, we don't know exactly how we're going to have the membership be realized. I don't know if it's going to be fellowship cards or anything of that nature, but we'll determine that. We will publish the literature and send out into the field. And again, no new codes. We've decided that that is heresy. That is historical, not inspired writings from Florence Houteff, Don Adair, because he added and subtracted, and you probably even have M.J. Bigham in there somewhere, because he teaches a lot of strange fire doctrine based on those new codes. At this time, we will define ourselves to ministry work and not be forming a new association. Our ultimate course is in God's hands. We have a lot of brethren asking us, well, are you guys going to be forming an association? No, we're not. We're confining ourselves to ministry work at this present time. One of the brethren, one of our leaders in the news ministry in a recent fellowship meeting made an excellent point, and that is that God would have us to wait on our brethren at Mountaindale. Give them a probationary time to realize what they have done. They've done something very, very bad, brethren, something very serious. And so to jump and to all of a sudden form a new association without giving them reflection time, without them giving them prayer time, fasting time, whatever, to realize what they have done, would not be right. So we're going to be in that time period where we're going to allow God to see what the Spirit Truth can do. And so we'll keep you updated on further movements of this ministry, but at this present time, that's our course. So we hope we've filled you up a little bit about what's going on with the goals of the pre-11th hour ministry. We've already heard from, like I said, many brethren wanting to know what's going on, but we'll keep informing the brethren through, online and truth tellers and emails and so forth, our course, so you know what we're doing. So thank you, brethren, for allowing us to do this presentation, and until next time, may the Lord continue to guide you into all truth. Amen.